celebrating 75 years.
In national news now, Congress and the White House are turning their collective focus to the war in Ukraine ahead of the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion.
Top-level officials now in Germany to discuss U.S. support in the days leading up to President Biden's own trip to nearby Poland. Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor with the story.
This is the first time in 2 decades organizers of the Munich Security Conference did not invite Russian officials, as many say the war in Ukraine is approaching a critical point.
This is an important trip for the president, and it comes at an important moment.
Nearly 1 year after war broke out in Ukraine, next week, President Biden will visit Poland, a key ally in the defense against Russia.
President Biden will make it clear that the United States will continue to stand with Ukraine.
Vice President Kamala Harris shared that same message in Germany Friday at the Munich Security Conference with French President Macron, stressing the war is impacting economies around the world.
Our commitment as a partner to the people of Ukraine.
U.S. military and economic aid has topped $110 billion since the war began. The U.S. is also training Ukrainian forces in Germany. President Zelensky thanked American officials for taking the lead at the security conference, while also asking his allies to speed up the delivery of more military aid, like fighter jets.
How many soldiers killed? How many towns and cities destroyed? How many hospitals and schools bombed? Can't blame President Zelensky for wanting more.
While the U.S. hasn't made specific commitments, members of Congress attending the conference, including South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, said they will support Ukraine however long the war lasts.
The Russians will see there is no forgiving and forgetting.
And Graham urged ally countries to support his efforts to create an international tribunal to prosecute crimes against women and children.
Let the Russians know you will pay a price.
And the White House says there are no plans for President Biden to visit Ukraine during his trip to Europe next week. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Okay, this is incredible. 2 men rescued in Turkey, one of them as late as 278 hours after that powerful earthquake shook the country. Rescuers pulling them from the debris of a building today after being buried for 12 days. The man rescued first, calling a number by memory, his family on the other end crying in disbelief. Search teams working overnight had earlier rescued a woman and 2 other men from the wreckage.
Incredible. Okay, the 5 former Memphis police officers charged in the violent arrest and death of Tyre Nichols appeared in court this morning along with their attorneys. The 5 officers each facing several charges, including second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and official oppression. The defendants did not speak during the court hearing, their attorneys entering not guilty pleas on their behalf. Nichols' mother and stepfather were in the courtroom, his mother later saying she was upset that none of the officers looked her in the face.
I want each and every one of those police officers to be able to look me in the face. They're going to see me at every court date, everyone.
Exactly.
And until we get justice for my son.
All 5 of the officers that are also facing a federal civil rights investigation remain out on bond. Their next court appearance is set for May 1st. However, fallout from this continues. There are now 3 fire department personnel and 1 additional police officer who've also lost their jobs because of their alleged roles in this incident.
Weather tonight, crews this morning rescuing people from homes affected by a massive mudslide in West Virginia. This all happening around 5:40 this morning. Dispatchers saying multiple homes were moved by the slide and train cars with coal were knocked off the tracks. The Mingo County Circuit Clerk saying they were working to get the road cleared to make way for an emergency vehicle that had to come through. Thankfully, no injuries reported.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
All right. So, Alana, we have a little break now, but all of those people who are in town for the All-Star Weekend may even get a gift of snow from us in Utah.
A little bit, and they got a gift of incredible sunset
as
well. Look at that.
We're serving it all. It's a sample of Utah, right? The greatest snow on earth for some if they're going to be up in the high country in our valleys. We had this tonight. How gorgeous is that? Scott Taylor catching that one as the sun was going down. A little more cloud cover out there, increasing clouds throughout the afternoon, evening, and now we've got cloud cover for the overnight. Okay, so high pressure's in control, and we do have air quality concerns as we head into our Saturday. Moderate air along the Wasatch Front with that elevated particulate matter. We also expect Box Elder County and the eastern side of the state to tap into that. But the inversion doesn't get a stronghold on the Beehive State because we have a few systems headed our way, and they could pack a punch. Today caught this great halo. Thank you, Michael, for taking this picture. It's definitely that light refracted and reflected on the ice crystals associated with those cirrus clouds. And it's a really, really pretty shot coming out of West Haven tonight. Love to see it. And as we look at the satellite, you can see the cloud cover that I was mentioning. It really starts to fill in the last couple of hours in the southern half of the state, now pushing into northern Utah. The cloud's actually going to act as a blanket and keep us from getting as cold as we were last night. It will still be frigid, but we won't be as cold. A few degrees here or there. We also saw that for our highs. 41 in Salt Lake, 33 in Moab, 37 in Cedar, and low 50s in St. George today. So taking back a few degrees each day. All right, as we talk about Salt Lake and moisture, we're halfway through the month, and we've only had 4 days of measurable precipitation. We're running a little low when it comes to wet weather, but not concerned here. We've had a wonderful winter, and as we look at the annual yearly rainfall for Salt Lake, it kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. We're in blue, and you can see how December through February, we kind of soar above the last 3 years, which is good news. That green line indicating average. Usually we see 15.5 inches of precip for the year. We're close to 8 right now. We want to keep this going, and it's not just in Salt Lake. As we look at the region, October 1st is when our water year starts, and several areas in the state, including Moab, Logan, Cedar City, well above average for where we need to be. Love that. Again, we want winter to finish strong. We also want a wet spring, and the storms that we're going to get as we head into next week and towards President's Day, they're going to help us out. Let's look at what to expect, because we've got the cloud cover out there with high pressure in control. We're going to flatten that ridge just a little bit. Increasing clouds for tomorrow by lunchtime. Hazy sunshine in the north, clouds down south, but here comes that next system. It moves through late tomorrow night into Sunday morning, and it does bring the slightest chance of some mountain snowfall and maybe some valley rain, but looking like you could see a few snow showers for your Sunday. Now, this is going to clear quickly. This is 6 a.m. If you're going skiing, you're likely going to see that. Backside of the Wasatch could see some light snow, but then that system exits. It's really just the precursor to what we're going to see. Here we are into President's Day, another system coming in. This is going to be valley rain and mountain snow, and that really lingers into our Tuesday, and we're going to see rain in our valleys because of temperatures, but then late Tuesday and into Wednesday, a cold front comes on through, and that's going to change that precip to straight snow. Keeping things active, looks like a statewide storm, and the potential for active skies holds on for next week. I'll show you what I mean on the 7-day here for the Wasatch Front. 20s, 30s, and 40s for tomorrow. We've got 20s, 30s, and 40s on the eastern side of the state. Take your pick and what you're looking for temperature-wise. 54 in St. George. Taking a view of the 7-day in Washington County, you're going to see that warming trend with midweek moisture coming in, but could be cold enough that we mix in some snowflakes. The Wasatch Front shows those daytime highs. Climbing, getting back to where we should be by President's Day, but then late in the day, that's when we have that system roll in. We get straight snow by Wednesday. I mean, if you thought winter was done, silly you, it was just taking a break, and it comes back next week.
Maybe not thought, but hoping,
I don't want to hear
wishing.
it. Nope, that's what I say.
thinking.
I know.
The mountains are like, Glenn, don't say that.
Well, hey, leave it in the mountains.
Yeah, valley rain, mountain snow is your favorite setup, so I'd be fine with that, but I'm actually okay no matter how we get the moisture, we need it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alana. Time now for another look at sports with Wesley Ruff.
We have been building this up for months, and it's finally here.
And it's exceeding expectations. They're doing a great job so far. The NBA All-Star Weekend is underway. A couple of games taking place tonight, one of which features